In this video, I want to talk about the USO Oil ETF and why it's a really bad idea to be buying this thing, even trading it, but especially people who are buying it as kind of an investment, thinking that they are buying crude oil when they're really not. So a lot of people are trying to buy this because the oil price has gotten so low and they think that it's the bottom and that USO is the only way to buy crude oil. But as a lot of people don't realize, you're not actually buying, some big storage locker of crude oil. You're buying oil futures, which are kind of right now like a melting ice cube. And it gets worse because, as you see in this article on Zero Hedge, that the USO ETF keeps changing their rules and they're telegraphing it to the whole market, letting people know what they're going to do. And so all of these hedge funds and professionals are taking advantage of this telegraphed information and trading against it, and the end result is that the retail buyers of USO, and there's a lot of them now all of a sudden, are really getting taken advantage of by these hedge funds and whatever, because they're front running the orders. So USO was supposed to be just a front month contract, meaning the next futures contract out, that's what they held. But now, because of all the problems in the market, they've been, and the May contract going negative and everything, they've been buying the June and the July. And now they even said that not only are they not going to just buy those two contracts, they're going to buy a lot more contracts going out even further. And so here they say that 30% of the portfolio will be July, 15% August, 15% September, 15 October, 15 December, and 10% June 2021 contract. And so all of these hedge funds and stuff, what they're doing is, hey, we know that USO is going to have to liquidate their June contract. Well, we're going to short it ahead of time, and it's going to go lower because they have to sell, because they told everybody they're selling. And so all these hedge funds are making a lot of money by shorting this stuff. And the end result is the holder of USO, the retail holder, is taking it in the shorts, or taking a big loss on this. Now you see oil, crude oil is down about 20% today, and USO is down about 15%. And USO's holdings, this brown was the May contract, and you see that in the beginning of April there were only the May contract, but around April 7th they started splitting it up into June and May. It was only the May contract. They started splitting it up from May and June, and by April 14th, they were completely out of the May contract and only in the June contract. But now they're also into the July contract here, the green, and even the August contract here, the dark blue. So what they're saying is, they started out their fund, they're saying, yeah, we're just a fund that buys the 1 month contract out. Now they're saying, yeah, every few days they're changing what they're saying they're doing. So this fund is like a moving target, and you don't know what the hell they're going to do in the next few days. So now that they're going to be buying futures contracts as far out as June 2021, what's the difference between the USO and their other fund, the USL, which is supposed to be a 12-month oil fund that buys futures contracts going out 12 consecutive months? USO is now converging into USL. So this stuff is changing all the time, and retail investors are not aware of what's in these things, how much they're changing, what it means, how other hedge funds and stuff are taking advantage of this. And the end result is a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money if they haven't already lost a lot of money. So this is not the way to try to buy the bottom in crude oil. It really isn't. You should definitely stay away from this thing. But like a moth to the flame, look at how many retail investors are now in USO. So Robinhood actually has this data of their investors in USO. And look at this chart, and here's a closer chart. You see there are now 204,000 Robinhood traders that hold USO. Okay, this went up from, for the last year, it's been around, that looks around like 5,000 people maybe in Robinhood held USO. And now since like March, it's gone up to 60,000 in like maybe mid-April to now over 200,000 people in just like the last week or two. This kind of stuff does not end well when the hordes of people are all jumping into one thing. Look at these 200,000 people. You think they're all going to get rich from buying USO at $2, $2 a share? Not likely. To me, it reminds me a little bit of those movies you see on how dolphins fish for small fish, where they corral them into a big group and then just start sniping on them and picking them off one by one. That seems to be what's been happening with USO. All of these retail people are jumping in, and the professionals are just picking them off, front running what's in the fund, the futures contracts. If you don't know what front running is, picture it like this. The most typical example is, let's say a big fund like Vanguard wants to buy 5 million shares of Microsoft starting, tomorrow morning from 9:30 till 4 o'clock. If you find out that information at 9:30 or 10 o'clock, you go buy a whole bunch of Microsoft because you know that they're going to be buying 5 million shares or whatever, and the price is going to go up. So this is the opposite. The hedge funds know that the USO is telling everybody they're getting rid of the June contract, and now they're spreading it out further. So all the hedge funds, all they're doing is going ahead and shorting the June contract and buying up the other contracts and front running, the USO fund that has to buy these things and sell the June contract like they just said. So this is not going to end well for people, but I know that a lot of these people, they don't know what's in the fund, so they just think it's actual crude oil, and they love a cheap price. And so $2, it was whatever, $20 just a few weeks ago or whatever. So they're all looking to buy the dip and think that, hey, I'm just going to make 50% quickly or 100% quickly. I'll hold it from 2 to 4 and make 100% and this and that. But when the thing goes down 15% in one day or 30% in one day, what do? What most people do is they average down until the loss is so great that they have to sell. And that's what's going to happen to a lot of people probably. So what should you do if you think the price of oil has bottomed, or we're very close to the bottom, and you want to buy oil for the long term? Don't buy USO, don't buy USL or any of this stuff. Go buy some real oil companies. And if you look at the actual oil ETF, XLE, that does not own futures but actually owns real oil companies like ExxonMobil, Chevron, ConocoPhillips, Occidental, all that stuff, they have bottomed out back in, mid-March. And you see XLE bottomed out around 22 and is now up to close to $36. So that is, what is that, 60% gain or something like that since mid-March. So they are acting really strong, so the market is discounting the low oil prices on their prospects and bidding up these oil stocks, whereas the oil futures market, could continue to go lower, but the oil stocks themselves are actually acting pretty well, considering what's going on in the market. So this is another video, showing you that if you don't know what's in these futures ETFs, don't buy them. They're very risky, and especially when the rules are changing every few days on these ETFs. By the time you figure out what's going on, your ETF has already been getting taken advantage of by all these hedge funds that are way ahead of the curve and know what's going on and are actively making a lot of money off of all these retail traders. And so that 200,000 traders was just in Robinhood. Imagine the other online brokers as well have probably a similar amount of retail investors trying to buy the dip on this USO ETF. So that's my warning to you. Please do not leave a comment saying, should I buy USO? Should I buy USL? Where should I get out? I'm down money. Should I hold on or something like that? My advice is do not buy these things. Buy real oil companies if you think oil has seen its bottom, and hold on to them for a number of years or something. You'll do yourself a much bigger favor doing that than trying to time a little bounce in the oil futures over here using these USO ETFs. So that's my video. I hope you liked it. Please leave me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Thank you for watching.